Okay, it's session 3 of Vaults of Shadow, part of our Songs of the Shadow Court series. I'm still finishing my dollar intro, so just take a minute. Okay. It was delicious, by the way. Aaron, you watched session 2, right?
Yes.
Sweet. So I don't have to catch up on anything. Awesome. We're going to kick off by having you talk about your home fire or your anchor fire.
Yep.
We're going to do that for a little bit, have you do the move, get some death prophecies on the table, and then proceed. This adventure, at least if you guys go on this mission, I suppose you don't have to. I don't know where else you're going to go or what you're going to do. But this adventure, Vatulam, the head collector, is a mini dungeon. It's insanely, wildly dangerous. Just know that. Like, your characters you're so much danger. So that's great. And it's so dangerous. So Vatulan's the head collector is a thing. It's just a little tiny dungeon. See how quickly we get through it. Let's do some epilogues and stuff afterwards, and throughout, if you want to frame up scenes to hit flags, as always, call them out and we'll do it. So, do you guys need access to the folder or anything? Looks like you're all there. So, let's just get going. So, Opry, you had met this elf named Celebron, right? What was his name?
Yes, Celebron.
And it was definitely Celebron, because I always pronounce C as a hard C with elves. Okay, it's a weird one. I'm being super, super authentic to source material, right? Oh, there's Krista. I'm trying to figure out where Celebron fits in. I think I was going to do a love letter, but I don't think I'm going to do a love letter, because basically everybody was just they did their one mission and then they were just kind of spending time in the city, like personal time, right? So I'm not sure a love letter is really appropriate, especially because you guys aren't in the middle of anything right now at this moment. And so I think instead I want to know about your home fire, your anchor fire in the city. I want to get that move fired off, and then I may have some follow-up questions about Celebron and what's going on there, and I may introduce him into the fiction as we go. But he is technically a useful NPC per the carouse move, and so he is on the table as someone you guys can rely on for information, or if you need something from him. I'm really open to suggestions there. So if you are in the middle of a situation and you think he might be helpful, just suggest that and we'll kind of make it happen. So let's just get going. Opry, tell us about your anchor fire. Where do we find you?
So Opry was raised at the circus. And so I think the fire that Opry always returns to is the fire for the keepers of the elephants that sort of populate the circus. And so the elephants are sort of a prize part. And so they have guards and handlers that sit around a fire and to keep themselves warm when they watch these elephants. And so she goes to these elephants. The elephants, they have long memories, and they seem to always remember her across the various jumps.
Love that. That's good. Yeah. Fabulous. That's fantastic. And do you want to roll a move?
Sure.
All right. Go ahead and roll this wisdom.
That is a 6 plus 2, 8.
You get to choose one. The shadows whisper secrets to you. You get some hold that you can spend to learn something about the current situation. The shadows comfort you. It's not applicable right now because I don't think you have any abilities. You find a shadow token, which is a small object highly prized by the shadows of Ashpultan, and sometimes it's a literal token. Describe it and add it to your gear, and that can be spent to have the shadows perform magical effects. Or the shadows bolster you. You can increase your preparation by 1. Everybody's going to have preparation 1 for this mission, but you'll have 2 if you choose that one. So.
Okay. Let's do the shadows whisper secrets to you. I feel that fits with the Scion.
I like that. Hold two. You can just note that on your sheet somewhere, and basically you can spend that at any point. At any point in ongoing fiction, to have the shadows reveal something to you about the current situation. It's a retcon, like they revealed it to you in the past, right? But you're kind of spending it to get the knowledge right then.
Great.
I will tell you something useful about the situation. So that is great. I will remind everybody else who has death prophecies that you can spend that hold to invoke a move on someone else. Basically, when they're getting ready to roll, you can say, "Oh, the shadows whispered to me. This is how they might die." And if they roll a 6-, they go straight to last breath. You both get XP. However, you get XP just for spending it, and then they get an XP for also getting a miss. So they get 2 XP. So really, you're giving them 2 XP potentially. That's the way to look at this. Fabulous. What do you think's been going on with Calibron? Like, do you, we kind of like hinted that maybe there was like a love connection going on, or there was some kind of familiarity, or something was happening. We just kind of tantalizingly hinted at the end of the first session. I'm curious just to get your thoughts, in or out of character, really.
I think one of the ideas I was coming up with was Calibron is a mentor. So I imagined that Aubrey's skills are not innate, right? That she acquired her psionic abilities, and that has come from the fortune teller at the circus that she sort of grew up in, and that Calibron was the mentor that sort of brought her to this fortune teller, and then helped her develop her skills once they started sort of manifesting, and then became sort of like a partner in crime. They would do like petty theft, picking pockets, and then scaling up as her skills increased.
I love it. That's fantastic. I'm going to keep that in my back pocket for now. I'm going to just rush right forward to this Valutan, the head collector. A quick reminder, he is a necromancer of the Bone Court. He travels the lands, attending public executions, where he acquires the heads of people who have been executed. And he goes through a series of special preparations with the head. He puts them in a box, and then through various necromantic magics, he's able to animate the heads, and they are able to speak on any topic they knew about in life. His is a very, I wouldn't say a brisk trade. It's not exactly a commodity he deals in, but it is. Aaron, just a quick note: every time you touch your mic, you make a little scratchy noise. So just FYI on that. So he, what he's trading is like really, really rarefied sort of thing that he deals in. He deals at very high levels. Like, it's people who are like, lords and kings and things who want this. And presently, right now, the Shadow Court has been tasked with acquiring a head that is desired. The head of a vizier named, I want to say his name was Aslan. Better look that up.
Azuman.
A vizier named Azuman. There is a local lord who wants that head. He hasn't been able to get a hold of it directly from Vatulan, so he wants it stolen. And so that's what you guys are doing. Vatulan is is not in Ashpultan presently, and so this is the moment to strike. And so I think you will know where he lives. He lives in he has a little, it's not really a palazzo, it's just like a little one-story home in a densely packed row of buildings right on the city. It's a home that has no windows or back entrances. It's expressly sealed off. It has a single entrance in the front, and for ventilation, it just has like little small vent holes. You can find it easily. You know where it's at. That's no big deal. What I do want to know, though, from each of you, Vatulan existed in your timeline, in your old timeline. Indeed, all of the courts tend to swim along in the various timelines, right? They seem distinctly unaffected by the cosmic fuckery that goes on surrounding the courts, particularly the Shadow Court's ability to adjust and shape history. And so you all knew of Vatulan, or you had some connection to Vatulan, or you have a little factoid even about his home or himself, something, just some information that you've got about that other version of Vatulan, right? I would like to know what that is, and I'm not promising it's going to get incorporated into the dungeon, but I do want to know, though. I think it's really interesting. I think it adds an interesting texture to the world, and I'd like to see where I can see how we can kind of work those things in. I'll give you guys a minute if you need it.
Can you say that again?
Say what again?
What is it that we need to be thinking about?
Oh, you knew Vatulan in the previous timeline. You knew that version of him.
Mhm.
I just want to know, like, what sort of detail, or either about himself or his home, or maybe some kind of personal connection even that you had with him. I just want to know a little bit of something about the other version of Vatulan. No guarantee it's like that in this reality at all, but that's just what I want to know. You guys can have a minute if you want.
The previous one, I think, maybe on his roof he tends like pigeons and stuff like that. Like he has a roost or whatever, and yeah, like either in his attic or on the roof. I guess I don't know what the building looks like, but something like that would be cool. I'm picturing like the Lawrence Fishburne, John Wick 2 guy with all the pigeons. Like
the
that.
Pigeons, I'm into that. Yeah, it's good. Any other little details?
I think maybe Vatulan used to come down to the circus as sort of like what do they call them, like a poverty tourist, like would wear like, you know, a cloak over his head, just sort of like slum it for a day or two, and he would be obsessed with like sword swallowing or some other sort of like random and silly circus act.
I think he has a collection of books that are written in some strange, damned language that literally can like inscribe the spirit of somebody into the text itself, sort of. And if you read it all aloud, then you sort of manifest their spirit in some way or something like that. So we've got this collection of books that are basically just like graves for people almost.
Interesting.
And I think in the previous one, we established that Twilight actually knew him because they were in competition for souls, if you will. She would also go to the executions to try and harvest some ectoplasm. So they do not like each other. I thought that makes a difference here, does it?
Awesome.
Right, how rational Twilight is about the whole situation.
What'd you say? Sorry, Matt.
Oh, no, it's okay. I just said it might change how rational Twilight is about the whole situation.
You're roboting a little bit, Matthew. You might want to either go on audio only or just try to rejoin the call.
Yeah, you keep freezing for a few seconds.
Am I okay now?
You sound better, yeah. So, the front entrance to Vatulan's home, which you can go by at any time of day just to scope it out, right, is quite ostentatious. It is a pair of stone doors that have been carved with a bas relief of a pretty terrifying scene the Bone Court like loves to use the horror of necromancy to kind of like to create a certain mystique about themselves. But secretly, necromancy is actually, I mean, a lot of what they do is honestly like pretty close to like medical stuff, right? Like it's not always horrific raising zombies and skeletons and shit, right? It is a magic that has anything to do with biology, right? And but keeping with the brand, the doors are carved with this bas relief of like powerful wizards like that have like zombie and skeleton armies rising up and marching against kingdoms, right? Like it's very much that. I think I'd like to just go around the table and find out what you are each doing, and what you if you want to approach the situation in a different way than just going through the front door. I'm open to that too, although the options are pretty limited. And unless you can walk through walls, I suppose. And yeah, so just I want to find out like what your approach would be, both like maybe even before you get there, or like just what you're doing, just what you're thinking. I just want to get some ideas out there essentially. What do you think, Derail?
This is about getting in or scoping the place?
It's about going in there and stealing that particular head.
I want to maybe he gets like deliveries quite often for medical things, jars of gross things and stuff. I don't know. And at one point I like pay off the normal delivery man to make a delivery this time, and I'll just say he's like sick or something like that to scope out the place.
Okay, I like that. I mean, I think the delivery thing is he's not around. There are no servants or anything there. Like the house is buttoned up, right? But I do think that posing as someone who like does business with Vatulon regularly is a great justification for just scoping things out. If you want to do a discern realities, go do that.
Cool.
What's your thinking on this, Talia?
I think that Talia is interested in knowing maybe about Azuman. And like I'm sure if we need to, we can just grab the head and go. But I think she might want to see if he comes up in any of her stories. So she's more like a lore gathering, I imagine, about and maybe whispers of what might lie in this house and trying to discern the truth from the rumors.
I like that. So I assume you're invoking stories and legends move.
Yeah.
Let's see what that looks like. When you declare that you've heard tell of something or someone important, name the book, song, or story. Well, what's the book, song, or story?
I think that it is. I think it's the it's a story called The Rose Maiden's Labyrinth, and I think that it is a story that it contains it's sort of a collection or an amalgamation of some of the world's most legendary like traps or security measures or things like that. It's basically like this big compendium of just obstacles, and maybe some of what he has in his home might be listed in there.
Good. I love it. Go ahead and roll that move. And what's your question? You get to ask a question and then roll.
Right. I guess what is the most feared or commonly terrifying thing that Vatulon is rumored to keep in his house?
Oh, this is about Vatulon. Oh, I thought it's about Azuman. Oh, that's terrific. That's a great roll. Let's roll and see how it goes.
Cool. That is that's a 7.
Sorry. I'll provide you with an answer. Okay. That's straightforward. No particular word on like what's particular specific dangers he might be have around his house, but you will learn that Vatulan Vatulan often deals with other wizards and sorcerers, and he very often receives payment in the form of magical services. So you can probably bet that this place is loaded up with the magical devices and traps of other people.
Okay. Good to know.
Twilight, what you thinking here?
Well, since Twilight knows, her thought was, since they're competitors, that maybe she could go in and try and negotiate for a division of territory.
Hmm.
But she's got like -1 to charisma rolls, so I don't think that's going to go well unless she has somebody help her. And Twilight was thinking that Audrey might be a good person for that, if that's a viable plan to get in.
Well, to be clear, Vatulan is not in the city right now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the house is completely
Never
empty.
mind.
It's just pinned up. Yeah. He is. I mean, you guys are doing this mission expressly because he's not around, right?
Right. Sorry. More coffee
Okay.
needed.
No worries. We'll think about it for a minute. I'm going to cut over to Aubrey. Aubrey, what you're thinking?
So you said that he's out of town, but the castle itself is entirely empty?
Yeah, and a castle would be a vast overstatement. It's like a 4-room house. So
okay, interesting. Then that shoots my plan to hell too. I thought that there'd be some attendance.
no, there's no one. It's like it's just locked up.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, you're gonna have to come back to me. I got nothing.
I will. So Dero, what's your question?
My question is, I think, apt. What here is not what it appears to be.
It's a good question. You, as you are kind of like scoping the place out, maybe you're doing it over the course of an afternoon or whatever, right, Dero?
Mhm.
You notice that the 2 doors carved with the bas relief of this crazy, like zombie scene, undead army scene. You'll notice that, like, at first you thought it was just like a trick of the light, but in fact, as you sort of, as you kind of like look at it from different angles or kind of maybe even get a little closer to investigate, you'll notice that like there is a fine sort of prismatic shimmer over the surface of the door, over the body of the door, indicating enchantment.
Okay. Sounds good. So don't go in that way.
Or find a way to disarm it, right? Don't you wish you had a thief?
Well, if people are gonna last breath me, then maybe next time. I will return.
Indeed. Fabulous. Also, Twilight, you will have all this information. What you're thinking?
I think then Twilight is going to use. So Twilight, as her move, she took 2 additional gadgets when she advanced, and she took ectoplasmic spirit explosion flasks. But they're implosion flasks, right? The idea is that if they're ghosts or beings like that, or undead, she can throw them or open them, and they'll suck the necromantic energy out of them.
Ooh,
so I'm thinking that's sort of like limited; it won't apply to people. And ectoplasmic amplification boots, which would enable her to climb anything. So I'm thinking that she might climb the walls to see if she can find a different entrance.
That may be something like topside. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah. Take the Fraser approach, maybe come in crashing through the roof like there's a skylight.
No, I think that's an interesting idea. So, okay, you could do that. I think as long as someone's keeping watch, you can scale up the side of the wall pretty easily. And it's like a vaulted 1-story, so like it's the little building, which is, mind you, crammed between 2 other buildings. This little building it's probably like a maybe like 15 feet tall or so, maybe a little taller. I don't require a roll. Just knowing you have those those special equipment is enough. You get to the top, and it just looks like a smooth expanse of stone that you can walk on, kind of like a lot of like older Italian houses have like flat roofs, you know, and you can kind of do things up there or whatever. It's like that, just like a flat, perfectly flat roof. What do you do now that you're up there?
So it's a perfectly flat roof, and there's nothing. So there's no chimney stacks or anything like that.
There are little tiny vent holes throughout, but it doesn't appear he lights fires or anything in there.
And he doesn't come up to the roof to do anything. I thought there were pigeons or something like that he kept.
Oh yeah, you're right. Maybe, I don't know. That was in
Maybe,
the other time.
yeah, that was in the other timeline. So maybe he hasn't established that here yet. Okay. Well, I guess when she gets up, before she steps onto the roof, she's going to take a careful look around to see, because she's expecting that there'll be traps. Because he's just a devious bastard. There's got to be something ghosty.
Yeah, roll DR.
Ouch. So that is a 5, I think.
5. Okay, hold that thought. And while you're doing that, I'll swing back over to Aubrey.
Yeah, that's a 5.
So, is there somebody in town who might have some familiarity with this place?
Maybe Calibron. Why don't we just say Calibron? Because you said in the other timeline you said that he liked to visit the circus. Maybe that hasn't stopped, right? Maybe he's
right. So yeah, I think I want to go track down Calibron and see if Vatulan is leaving his house to go down to the circus and he's trying to do it undercover. Perhaps he's not leaving through the front door, or is finding or has somebody helping him to sort of move through this space. I want to find who he knows.
Okay, I know that. So you can find Calibron, and maybe it's been. I'm getting echo off. I'm getting echo off here. Right? Do you not have headphones on?
Not anymore.
No, I'm echoing. I can hear myself talk.
Let me reboot. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, I think it's just the audio. I think it's just because your mic is picking up my talking.
Yeah. Yeah, a restart wouldn't fix that.
Yeah, I don't think a restart would fix that.
Yeah. It's just because the sound is coming up. So you could turn the volume down so that your mic doesn't pick it up.
Your headphones are fine as long as you don't touch the mic. As long as you just don't like brush up against it, you're okay. It gives me time to think about Calibron. What's going to happen there? Can you hear me?
Gives me time to think about all the death prophecies that I can invoke.
So Calibron is, I think maybe it's been a day or two since you've been hanging out with him, or at least been, since you've interacted with him last. And he is, we'll say it's early in the day. And I think he likes to go down to, I think there's like there's a man-made like lake in the middle of the city with a bridge that goes over it. This is the elven influence of the city, right? Beautiful like bridge constructed over this elven-made lake. It's a little oasis of pastoral beauty in the middle of this like filthy, stinking city, right? And he likes to go there and fish. And you find him, and we can kind of dispense with the, well, let's just have the scene. He says, Aubrey, I have another pole, another rod. Should I put something on the line for you?
Of course. Pleasure to see you again.
So, Are you here because you want to deepen our relationship in wildly romantic and sexual ways, or do you need something from me?
A little from column A, a little from column B.
Well, it probably would be looked down upon if we began pursuing something passionate here on the bridge, or maybe it wouldn't be. I don't know. But let's assume it would be, and I'll ask you, what do you need?
What do you know? What do you know of Vachulan?
Vachulan, the head collector.
The one and only.
I know that he comes to the circus in disguise. And I know that he has, well, he's always had a fascination with the circus. I'm led to believe that he always wanted to be in a circus, but his parents pushed him towards more academic pursuits. So, like so many young, well-to-do men, he was forced to abandon his dreams and pursue something that would entrench him in the upper echelons of wealth and society. Poor guy.
Don't we all give up our dreams at some point?
Not me. I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing right now.
Seems glorious. I envy that of you.
Why do you want to know about Vachulan, the head collector?
I'm not sure that that's. Not sure that you need to know that.
Okay.
I think what's more important for us to talk about is what you know of his home.
Interesting. I may know something, but I don't like to just give things over for free, I fear, Aubrey.
This I remember of you.
He has a little folding seat. He sits down on it. He's dressed a little more casually than normal, right? He's not wearing his bright, colorful, Harlequin or whatever. He says, let us engage. Let us engage in an intense and fiery negotiation over pipe leaf. And he takes out his pipe, he stuffs it, and he sits down. He has a little stool for you too. And we'll cut back to that. So we'll give Aubrey a minute to figure out what she will have learned from Celebron, and then kind of zoom her back into the situation. Right now, Twilight is on the roof, looking for ways in. You don't find anything. There's no indication that that there's any way in through the roof. However, as you are, I think you're probably looking for you're probably on the ground looking for trapdoor, entrances or whatever, that kind of thing, right? Something that leads to a ladder or a stairwell. That all makes sense. That's a normal sort of thing to do. And you do actually find something. It's not exactly a way in at all. I wouldn't classify it as a way in. But you do find a flagstone, or a bit of stone, a flagstone, but like a piece of stone that that is pretty clearly not masoned into the rest of it, right? And you can kind of pop that stone out. And as you look down underneath the stone, it just leads to like a little box, no bigger than, I don't know, like 30 inches by 30 inches, right? Little box. And at the bottom of the box is a sort of thick, wet, red tendril or tentacle, just kind of like waving, wobbling inside this box, right? And that's a strange thing. What in the world would he have something like this on his roof for? It's kind of waving and wobbling down. And that tentacle, like, it sort of like stiffens up as soon as, like, after a moment, almost like it's aware of you, even in a sense. And then it kind of like, the tentacle sort of recedes, and it appears to be attached to an eyeball, and the eyeball like spins, and like you can now see this eyeball, which looks like it was sort of wedged at the bottom of this box. Big, lusciously moist, black pupiled eyeball, about the size of a basketball. And this eyeball, the pupil dilates, like just, so it's just black and beady, right? And you feel a tightening in your chest, like something is reaching down into your chest and closing up your lungs. What do you do?
So it's nothing physical. It's just it's looking at me, and with its glance, it's tightening, causing a tightening in my chest.
Some sort of hex or curse for sure.
I think Twilight swings her gun around and takes a shot at it.
Nice. Give me a dexterity roll just to kind of act quickly to just sort of.
It's a little better. That's a 7. I think. Wait, let me see what my dex is. Yep, that's a 7.
You shoot it, and the eyeball was in some sort of like socket, right, that it could spin freely in. And when you shoot it, it like falls down like into the house, right, leaving a hole that you can now look down into. And you're good, and you feel the tightening in your chest easing up a little bit, right? You have a -1 forward, but otherwise you're good. I want to just do a quick parlay, Aubrey, to get this information on the table, and then, but I just want to know what your leverage is.
I think I know that Calibron and the fortune teller were doing more than just petty theft. That there was something more sinister going on here. That they are using the cover of the circus for. So I have that as leverage.
Nice. So you might go to the authorities. Is that what you're suggesting?
Correct.
Roll plus charisma.
I also have moved the Heart's Sorrow, which is similar. When you look into someone's heart in search of a secret, roll plus wisdom. I don't know if that's applicable here.
We can use that as the fictional justification for how you know this. I don't need the roll if you want to just, unless that would give you like a bonus on parlay. Is that something?
No, it's more like the secret is presented with greater context. Bless you. Or actually, yeah, the secret can easily be used to gain leverage for parlay. So maybe that makes sense. All right.
No, I like it. Yeah, that's good. So let's just say you've already done that, and because of your previous familiarity with him and talking to him and stuff. So just roll parlay, roll plus charisma. And I will say that like it's something you might know, and he won't suspect that you've delved into his mind.
Okay, that is a 12.
Nice. He says, blackmail. Blackmail is not really the sort of thing that arouses my ardor, I have to confess, Aubrey. Doesn't really get me in the mood. But I also like this sort of aggressiveness from you, this take charge attitude. I find it deeply, deeply intriguing. So you promise you will say nothing if I tell you what I know of his comings and goings?
I've not told in the many years that I've known you. I don't see a need to start. I don't see a need to tell now.
Very well. There's an access into his home from the catacombs beneath the city. He often travels whenever he needs to go anywhere under cover of darkness, which is often for someone in his line of business. He just leaves the house that way and comes up through. And he gives you he tells you about there's a little sewer grate nearby in a little park attached to a little water feature in the park. You can kind of go down there and then come up through the bottom of the house. And you can be back with the group with that information if you want. And I think I'm just going to put you all back together. And Twilight, you can have shared what you know with the group. It's probably we'll say it's late in the afternoon. Maybe you guys are at a pub right across the street, right? That's classic spy movie stuff, right? Let's go talk about this at the bar right across the street and watch. We're going to have that scene. We're going to take a quick, just a quick 2-minute break, come back, and we'll have that scene. You guys can talk about your next steps. Okie doke. Matt, are you there?
Just rejoined. Must be having some internet issues.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you all have all the information. You can all have shared all your information. You know, you're at a certain, you know kind of what's what. Um, you also know, Twilight, that there is there's a hole about the size of a basketball in the in the roof as well, which a eyeball creature fell down into because you shot it. So I guess I just want to go around the table and find out what you think next steps are. You can have the scene if you want. If you guys want to actually role play it out, I'll leave it up to you. But just have the scene, and you guys, when you start making moves, I'll react. So role play.
Okay. I think we're just ordered our food or whatever, and I look over at the door and I'm like, wait for it. Wait for it. And then there's the little shiver, and I say, you see that? That's why we can't go in the front.
Would have been very convenient to have a wizard along with us, but I suppose we'll have to make do.
Yeah, and the roof's not much better. It's flat, no entrance. I thought he kept pigeons on the roof in most of the timelines. He doesn't seem to have that here. Anyway, there's this there's this eyeball thing with a tentacle that curses you and makes it hard for you to breathe. But I shot it, and it fell down through this basketball-sized hole. We don't have basketballs, do we? But fell down the hole. So unless somebody has some means of getting really small, I don't think we're going to be able to get in that way either.
Opry waits for everybody to sort of do their thing, and then just sort of leans in. There's a way. There are catacombs under the city. We can find our way in through these catacombs. I know the way.
Classic
Opry.
Yeah.
Is there some reason you couldn't have told us that earlier?
I mean, I want you all to feel like you're a part of this. I want you to feel like we're a team, right? I mean, I have all the answers, but I want you to feel like you can contribute.
Is this one of these old school things? Is this a circus thing? I mean, what? My head is throbbing because I went under the roof when there was an easier way in.
So, if it makes you feel any better, I've just learned of this information. I didn't know all the things.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, my head's really hurting. I'm sorry.
I slowly slide a mug of ale over.
Twilight takes it and slams it down. Still not helping.
Well, so what's your next move here?
I think the only viable plan is to use Opry's way in.
We might have definitely disturbed some things inside of the home, so I suppose an alternative route might be of use to us.
Yeah. How much money does it cost to hire a thief to do some stuff?
A burglar hireling, you can actually you can send them ahead to and the traps just blow up on them, right?
Really?
Yeah, that is a thing that can happen. There's a move. I mean, there's a special move that lets you hire hirelings. I mean, I don't think I've ever done it in however many sessions in Dungeon World. I don't think I've ever done this move, but boy, there's a time for everything, I suppose. When you put out word that you're looking to hire help, roll. If you make it known that your pay is generous, you take +1. What you're setting out to do, take +1, and that they'll get a share of whatever you find, take +1. And if you have a useful reputation around these parts, take an additional +1, and then you get your pick of skilled applicants depending on how that goes. So if you're looking to get a burglar class hireling, that is a thing you can try to do for sure.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that they might be able to steal in there, right? Seems like it.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. So will you have put out word for someone to help you with this?
I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it might be wise.
It sounds
Yeah.
fun.
And what do you think generous pay is? Because I think how much I got like $50, right?
I think 50 coin is probably a good generous amount because an assassination is 100 coin, right? So
Okay. Yeah, I wrote down I have 50 bills. So we
okay,
could
so pay is generous. Are you gonna say what that you intend you need their help to invade the home of a necromancer?
I think so.
Or do you
Otherwise,
leave that
like,
out?
well, I think. Oh, you mean like in the right? Because we're like putting this out there, so it might not be that wise, right? To be like, who wants to hit up a famous house?
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think we tell them that they can have a split of the treasure, but they're probably not making it out, so I don't know if it matters in the end.
Nice.
So it sounds like maybe a +2 on the roll then.
Right.
So and then I think you guys don't quite have the useful reputation required to attract certain people, right?
Yeah,
So,
not yet. Anyway.
yeah, roll +2.
All right. 7, 9.
Anybody want to help?
Yeah, I think that's something Opry would try. Maybe I think this is something that we can link to like peer through the veil, where I perceive phenomena invisible to mortal eyes. Maybe there's some type of latent trace of a thief that we've seen their work in action, right? We've been in Ashbaltan for a little bit, and so I'm sort of like directing. I think there's a group over there that might be
In
able to
this
help.
neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is the neighborhood to begin. Yeah, I like that. That's good. Go ahead and roll plus wisdom.
I think to add to the fiction there, Talia would probably be singing songs of like legendary thieves around town the week before to kind of build up buzz for
Nice.
that and get
Yeah.
people on board.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, even like I like the idea of us appearing competent. That if we did get the person that we're looking for or whatever, once we're done talking here, then like the audience would see this new person sit beside us, but then we'd cut away and they'd be like, who's that? And then we're suddenly like at the job doing this shit. Right?
Nice.
I like Christo's idea of a carnival acrobat thief.
You want to send one of your own to the slaughter? Okay.
My own are in another timeline.
Mm.
I got a 9 on that roll.
Nice. That bumps you up to a 10 on that special move. A 10 on recruit. You've got your pick of a number of skilled applicants, your choice who you hire. No penalty for not taking them along. So I like this. We're having this like basically an interview scene. Like, where people, like, I'm imagining that scene in like Coming to America when they're at the club and like all the different women are like saying why they should be able to date this guy, you know, and they're all you get a bunch of random yahoos before you start to hone in on the on the people you want.
The scum of Ashbaltan.
Exactly.
Maybe it's even like the scene in Ocean's 13, is it, with that weird Russian guy where they're like, the weather on the boat is particularly bad, and then they're like, yes, but the Dutchman comes on time. Stuff like that, right?
Okay, so I'm going to put before you 3 possible applicants. Okay, 3 for this job. I need my story games name book, don't I? What do we want? Tattooed Lands. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Okay. So there is a burglar named Kasai, highly skilled burglar, also known to be incredibly treacherous.
Hard pass on that one.
But very, very good at his job.
Wait till you hear the others.
Very, very good at your job.
That's just included in every one of them.
There is a contortionist and acrobat at the circus named her name is Yedem. So
she might be able to get in through the roof.
She is not as skilled specifically in burglary, but she's loyal. And her only downside is I think she suffers from bouts of sleepfulness, so she may just like doze off at the wrong moment.
Okay. A narcoleptic contortionist.
Narcoleptic contortionist Yedem. Or your third choice is your third choice is a person who is not a burglar at all, but or has a minimal burglar talent, minimally talented burglar, incredibly talented torchbearer, and loyal to the core. His name is Nawar. So Kasai, Nawar, and Yedem.
Okay, so here's what I think we should do. We should hire the first person, but when we I'll be like, okay, like you're hired and let's drink to it or whatever, but I poison his drink. And that way if he ever, and then I'm like, when we go on the job, I'll be like, P.S. you're poisoned and I'll give you the cure when we get out of here.
Checkmate.
Well, just let me know who you want and I'll stat him up. So.
What do you guys think?
I like that.
Yeah, if we know he's going to betray us, I mean, is it really an issue?
What do you mean?
Well, we know it. He's going to try and do something.
Yeah,
so we just have to be ahead of that and probably not let him be alone if we can help that, which might be hard if he's breaking in for us.
So you're saying don't poison him?
Definitely poison him.
You have this poison?
Why? I'll just buy it, right?
I mean, I think regardless of who we get, we should poison them. I think that's just a given, right?
Well, so the poison thing can be used as like the way hirelings work is if you ever need to push them to do something they don't want to do, or you're pushing them to like do their job. You do. There's a loyalty roll that goes on. Kasai's loyalty is probably 0, but maybe you can use the threat of the poisoning as your leverage to get the roll, right? Like, okay, like, look, here's the deal. If you're choosing Kasai, I will make a couple of quick notes. You guys can put it on the sheet too if you want. I'm just going to stat him out really quickly. I mentioned he's a very talented burglar, and indeed he is. He has a skill of 3 in burglar.
Ooh,
is pretty high. He has a 3 in burglar, a 1 in tracker. He's got a 1 in adept, actually. He's got some magical talent. You get really good hiring. And he has a 1 in protector. I'll put that in the chat for you guys as well. Oh, and loyalty 0.
Cool.
So Kasai will say that you've done this prior to being at the bar across the way, right? And you see him. He comes up. He is wearing a just like really like dark colored clothing, right? Dark colored clothing, dark cloak, dark pants and shirt, and he has kind of a bronze complexion, dark hair, and he's got a really, really, I think he's got like one of those like smile scars, he's got those smile scars, like someone carved, like a scar smile into his face as a punishment of some sort. And he's been dealing with you, right, Derail?
Yeah, I guess so.
And he comes up and he says, "This is the rest of your crew."
That's right.
A tiny circus freak, a bard, and whatever the heck she is. That's your crew.
What do you care? The money's good.
The money is adequate. That's perfectly clear. Adequate compared to my talent.
Well, that remains to be seen, Kasai.
Who do you all work for, incidentally? What's this all about?
Aren't we all machinations in a larger machine, Kasai? The only thing you need to know, and I throw down the pouch of gold, is right here in front of you.
He grabs it and says, "Fine, where are we breaking into?"
And I look across the street.
He says, "That's the home of Valutan, the head collector."
And I nod.
Are you mad?
No.
Well, what do you need me to do? Direct me.
And I guess we'll fill him into the passage of what we're going through, but we need you to make sure that none of his tricks fire off against us.
Hmm. So we're not going into the front door?
No.
Okay. Do you know an alternate way in?
Yeah, and I point to the little freak has found something for us in that regard. The catacombs beneath.
Well, lead the way, please.
We'll cut to there.
And you guys will be there's a little nearby park, kind of a private park, right? Or just kind of just for kind of not private, but it's sort of exclusive, right? Kind of exclusive neighborhood. There's a water feature of a beautiful stag, and there is a metal grate near that water feature that has a ladder that goes down into basically like a sort of subterranean part of the city. And it's not too far from his house, and so you can trace back to his house pretty easily. That part. And you guys can follow him down and in. He's ahead. He's searching. He's checking. He's doing his job. He's really good. There are moments where he stops, and he takes pouches of dust and sprinkles it across the way, right, to see if anything appears. He has a 10-foot pole, extendable 10-foot pole, and he taps around. Right, he's doing all that stuff. It's actually pretty slow going, if I'm being honest. You're just kind of gradually plodding down this little catacomb until you get to a ladder that initially doesn't reveal itself, but he kind of pokes around and moves a couple of wooden, sheets of wood away from the wall to show this little alcove at the ladder going up. This is almost certainly right beneath his house, right beneath Valutan's house. He says, "Here we go." And he climbs up. And it goes to you guys follow him up to it's essentially kind of like a It's a door. He checks it for traps. There are no traps. He gets the door. He pops it open, and that door is behind a big tapestry. Right? There's like a big tapestry on the wall that would cover that door up. Right? And he says, he looks back at you and says, "We're in. Are you ready for this?"
I was born ready.
All right. And now, per the burglar move, he is able to. If a trap fires off, he always like just barely doesn't stop it in time. He kind of gives you guys a chance to. He basically goes off, and he has to kind of like cope with it initially, right? And so it's called experimental trap disarming. When a burglar leads the way, they can detect traps almost in time. If a trap would be sprung while a burglar is leading the way, the burglar suffers the full effects, but the players get plus skill against the trap and add the burglar's skill to their armor against the trap. Most traps leave a burglar in need of immediate healing. If the players make camp near the trap, the burglar can disarm it by the time camp is broken. So here's what this looks like. He steps inside. You're all behind him. He steps inside, and you all hear a sort of like whistling noise, like a sort of like, right? And he's like, "Oh, damn!" And then there's like a pop, like a pop, and then you hear 3 sounds. This is behind the tap. You guys can't see it because the tapestry is down in front of your eyes, right? He's inside, and you just hear all of this. You hear a lion's roar, you hear a goat's bleating, and you hear another roar that's unclear what type of creature it comes from. And then you hear him scream. And then the screaming stops. But you all have a +3. I'm going to say you all have a +3 forward on whatever your next move is because he's warned you of this trap, he's triggered the trap, and you have the jump on the trap, so to speak.
Okay, I'm guessing the traps after this one are our own. Okay.
I think I might have something. I just turned back to the group, and I'm not quite as subtle as he had promised. And I step out past the tapestry and just kind of like, flow through it sort of. And I have as soon as I pass through on the other side, I have my instrument out at the ready. And when I advanced, I took the move Lullaby, which says when you sing or play a gentle song, roll plus charisma. On a 7+, every creature you choose that can hear you becomes lethargic and inattentive until the song ends. On a 10+, they fall asleep after a few minutes.
Good move, good move. I'll put a picture of the creature on the image board if you guys want to go see it. It's a chimera. It's pretty big. At the shoulder, it stands. It's about chest height at the shoulder, right? When you step out, you're playing this lullaby, right? And you see this thing, and you see Kasai. Kasai is like, I mean, it's just like his rib cage is split open, and his fucking guts are everywhere. Okay, like just everywhere. I'll describe the room in a minute. Roll your lullaby with a +3.
Score. Wow. So I rolled Snake Eyes, but I have a +3 and a +2 charisma. So that's a 7.
Okay, what happens? Boy, I think good thing you had that.
Guys. Yeah.
Way to go, Kasai. What what is the move do on a 7 to 9?
On a 7 to 9, they become, I think, lethargic and inattentive until the song ends. I think the song is the song of the White Kettle Estuary and like the crying river and stuff. It's this very tranquil theme.
Nice. You can all step in gently, gingerly. You'll see this magnificent chimera with his big leathery wings and his dragon head and his goat head and his lion head. And they are just, and it's just kind of like, it's like they're like on its haunches, like licking, playing with Kasai's remains. while while the song is being played by Talia. It's pretty vulnerable. I should go around the table and find out what the rest of you do. D-Rail, what are you going to do?
I'm wondering if we should take it out or just have it fall asleep, because it seems like if we did make it out, it would be good to maybe, like, we kind of have this a diversion already because there's like a dead body.
The thing is, it expressly won't fall asleep because I didn't hit a 10 plus. Maybe our characters might not know that, but I think like while I'm playing, I think while I'm playing, I kind of step to the side and like make urgent eyes at you, D-Real, and just kind of motion towards it and don't stop singing the whole time.
Okay, well, yeah, okay. Maybe I'll mess it up then. Maybe I'll do called shot. Yeah.
Maybe all three of us step forward to like strike a blow at the same time.
Yeah, like one on each head, I think is probably the idea there.
Sure.
I'm just gonna have you each roll damage, and as long as you get enough damage in total on the creature, you'll slaughter it. So
okay,
each of you just roll your damage die. You have to do 16.
Okay.
Total.
I got a 7.
Okay. I got a 1.
No.
I got a 2, but it's piercing.
Okay, that's helpful. It's not enough to kill it, but you all go to strike your blow. You each have your weapons. You're doing that, and the creature just snaps out of the musical stupor, right, and like begins whipping around, flailing around. I assume you're all trying to like beat it to death, stab it to death, whatever you're trying to do. You're trying to get it going. Let me describe the room for you. You're in Vatulan's library and workshop. The room is bisected in half. On one side, there is the library. There's like a couple of bookshelves with books piled up and a desk. On the other side is cabinets and work tables for various types of necromantic business, right? There are like candles and bone saws and jars of unguents and other things, right? And the creature actually does not seem interested in killing all of you at this point. The lion is kind of like roaring and trying to snap at you all, and it'll try to get some hits in, and the goat will do its best to try to stab you or bite at you or whatever. The dragon is the tricky bit. The little dragon tail part, or head part, that you'll notice, Talia, you'll notice it is breathing fire, but it's going to breathe the fire over your head and try to light up the library. It seems like its purpose is to light the library up so that you can't retrieve those books. So I'm going to just go around the table and find out what you're each doing now that the thing is active and attacking you all. D-Rail.
I think I'm gonna try for a called shot then. Probably at its head so it doesn't light everything on fire.
To try to hit the dragon head?
Yeah, like in its throat or something to make it not do that.
Yeah, I like that. We'll say it's called shot. I think the thing has to, well, it's focused on something else. So yeah, I'll let you have the called shot. It's fine. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, because it says defenseless or surprised, right?
Yeah.
But you'll let me have it?
Yeah, because it's pretty focused on what it's doing. So
okay. I got a 9.
Is this for shooting at the dragon? Oh, an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the dragon. Yeah.
And help can only give +1, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so let's see. Arms, legs. Isn't there a head one?
Yeah, the head stuns it, I think.
They do nothing but stand and drool for a few moments, which is what I was
so the dragon is disarmed. Like you hit it and it's just like, wobbling around or whatever. The rest of it's quite dangerous still. Twilight, what do you do?
I think Twilight is going to use her boots to climb up the wall, because she actually has her hands free when she can do this. So she can so she'll climb up the wall to get a slightly different angle and take a shot at the dragon with, she'll climb up, and since Dariel has already hit it once and probably distracted it again, so she'll take another shot with her pea shooter, with her ectoplasmic pea shooter, and which she's actually filled with, I want to say, little bits of glass, just to make it a little more interesting now. And hopefully that will go. So
yeah, roll volley.
Yeah, with a -1. Somebody should have given me a prophecy, because that's a miss.
I think you're trying to, as you run away, the cat instincts kick in and the lion gives chase. And indeed, as you're trying to run to the wall or whatever, it just pounces on top of you and knocks you forward, and the lion head just takes a huge chunk out of your back. Specifically, D10 +1. And Aubrey, what do you do?
Is the dragon still trying to?
No, the dragon's like kind of knocked out, or not knocked out, but like stunned, basically. Right?
Then I think I want to launch a telekinetic strike and try to pin it down to give an opening for the others.
Nice. Go ahead and roll that.
That is a 8 plus wisdom 2. That's a 10.
Nice. I mean, the thing's only got 4 more hit points, so as long as you do 4 hit points of damage, you kill it, right?
That is a 3.
Nice. Do you have forceful and messy on that?
I do not.
Okay. Well, go ahead and just describe what happens here.
Oh, wait. Yes. With the tags near, forceful, and messy.
Okay. Forceful will be helpful because it can help you get it off of Twilight, right?
Yeah.
Just describe that for me.
I think that I had come in close to try to sort of stab it with a dagger in the initial scene, and then as it sort of reared back, I think I fall back against the bookshelves, and then as I watch the scene sort of unfold, I sort of channel this power down and just sort of slam it into the ground as I see it come after Twilight.
Nice. Talia, what do you do?
I think now that it's been sort of knocked back and it's off its guard a little bit, I think that I take from my one of my pockets one of the relics that I took from Melvor the Explorer earlier, and I think one of them is it's sort of a whistle that an ancient tribe of people would use to back down ferocious, like, mythical creatures. And I don't know what move this exactly would fall over, maybe some kind of defy danger, but I guess this is still sort of a setup, but I want to sort of use this thing to cause it to hesitate or to give someone else an opportunity.
I mean, it
could just be a help.
it has 1 hit point left. I mean, you don't have to do much here to kill this thing.
Okay, cool. Then I think what it is instead, then it's a mask. It's a mask that some ancient people would wear when they would go to fight these creatures, like maybe up in mountains or something like that. And I just pull it on, and I kind of just like walk slowly across the room, and while the dragon head is still disoriented and it's still sort of getting up, I think I take my short sword, and I just stab straight up through the lion head, and maybe we'll see how that goes for me. I suppose.
Hack and slash. Yeah, hack and slash.
Cool. That is a 13 or nice. 10 or 12. Sorry.
You can finish that scene.
Cool. So I think I just it's very slow and patient, sort of, as I just reach up and gently just like stab up into the lion's, like, below its jaw, and it just goes right through its head. And I sort of like jump and back away as the thing starts to like flail and its heads all jump around, and maybe the group kind of jumps in a little bit and just helps me like subdue it. But it was kind of that blow that set it into its death throes.
Good. So, I have a little layout of the place. I'm going to drop in here just so you guys have a sense of like how much dungeon is going on here. I'm going to put that in the folder, and it is an exquisitely drawn map. The level of detail on this map is bonkers. Michael Prescott, who? Dyson Logos, who? There's our map. Vatulan, the head collector. You're in this, if you're looking at it right now, you're in this south, you came in through this southeastern quadrant room. That's the library and the workshop. There's a door that presumably goes out into the hall where that's kind of connected up to the main entrance of the place. I just want to go around the table and find out what you each do. I'll remind you that Kasai's bloody body, or what's left of him, is down there at your feet, and the Chimera as well is there lying in a heap of abominable flesh. T-Roll, what do you do?
So, does he have any throwing knives or anything like that I could take?
Sure. Throwing knives times 3. Go for it.
Okay.
Take the coins back.
He also has thief tools. He also has thief tools too, right? I mean,
oh yeah, nice.
Yeah,
I knew there was a reason.
you can take thief gear 5 uses.
Oh, cool. Yeah. But he was pretty good at his job.
He made a tough encounter a lot easier, didn't he? I mean,
yeah, poor little buddy.
He was worth all 50 coin you're taking back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel kind of bad, but not really.
He was kind of a dick. I think it's okay to not feel bad.
Yeah, I guess I'll. So, like, we can't check for traps, though, right? Because we don't.
You can
have
discern
that
realities. Yeah.
Oh, right.
You don't have any control over what your answers are, but yeah.
Right. I guess I'll do that. Because we don't have any information about the interior, right? Of like where we're looking for anything or anything like that.
There's possibly a weird eyeball creature floating around somewhere down there. But that's basically what you know. And you also know from Talia that he barters in like magical services sometimes, which is probably why he got this little summoning trap for this chimera, right? That's not necromancy, that's something else, right? So
yeah.
There could be, the place could be loaded up with stuff like that. So.
Definitely. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll check this place out then.
Yeah, go ahead and do discern realities. Twilight, what are you doing in the scene?
Same sort of thing, because it's a workshop, so she's interested in seeing what he was working on and what the books are that they.
Okay, that sounds good. We might be able to do. Maybe we could wrap those up into what, like an aid plus a DR. What about you, Aubrey?
I think I'm trying to peer through the veil. I want to see what. I want to see what's happened here. I want to see what kind of creatures exist in this space.
I'm going to give you a separate DR because you're looking into in a different sort of way than they are.
Okay.
And what about you, Talia?
So I was initially thinking a similar thing as far as going to look for the books. I could think of an interesting way to kind of just get more information from the scene if we're all doing DR stuff. I was thinking of maybe, I had mentioned earlier that he had kind of these books of souls, and maybe going over to a book and sort of reading through it and
for those, yeah.
Yeah, and being able to maybe speak to a spirit that he had trapped in there to kind of learn something about what else lies in the home. This could even be like a hireling, but that might be going a little too far.
I like it. I think you will find such a book. You can put that in your gear, and I'm going to say that this book, you can call it a book of souls. You can name it whatever you want, but I'm going to say that this book has. It can be the justification for lots of things, but it has 3 mechanical uses of basically a +1 to spell lore. So
cool.
That's fantastic. Give me that DR roll with the 8 if you need it, D-Real.
I got a 4.
Okay.
I rolled 3, guys.
So much for that. Hold that thought, and let me have your DR roll as well, Aubrey.
That's a 9.
9, awesome. you could go ahead and take the 8, I suppose. We could just say that Twilight was generally aiding, looking around for things. So, and he also knows about that eyeball, right? So that could be helpful, or she knows rather. So you give me a wisdom aid, Twilight.
That's a 10.
Nice. Okay. I need a bio break, so we'll take 2 minutes and come back and resolve all this stuff. Cool.
I don't have the death prophecy. I probably maybe should have used the other thing. I can't remember what my token does though. But I have a shadow token, y'all.
Well, maybe this is where it'll help you.
Yeah. Or maybe this is the end.
So is my mic totally fucked up at the moment?
It's fine. It's been fine since you put on headphones, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is
I think
that?
it's just when that little nodule thing, the mic or whatever, just the way that it was hanging before, I think it kept brushing against your clothes.
When I took that off, you said that, or Jason said that there was reverb, and you said that that comes from the volume on the computer being too loud. Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's like your mic on your computer picking up Jason talking and then putting it back through the mic.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. That's why everybody usually has to play with headphones on.
Yeah, it's not because we look cool.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Do you guys love my jank map of Valutans?
Yeah, you were pumping it up. I was like, "Ooh, it's one of Prescott's maps," and then I saw it. I was like, "Oh, that he was lying." Okay.
I was saying Michael Prescott, who's that guy when you've got this?
Eat your heart out.
Eat your heart out, exactly.
I thought, yeah, I didn't know that's what you were saying. I thought you were meant I took one of his maps and were
No.
I actually love it. It's like enough to give us sort of positioning.
It's
in
kind of
a
all you
general
need,
sense.
right?
Yeah. a lot of blank spaces to be filled in.
Yes, indeed.
The map is in the folder, Aaron.
Oh, Aaron doesn't see it. It's in the folder. It says Valutan on the folder.
Mm-hmm.
Or Vatulan, rather, sorry.
Oh, Jason, I forget. What do I use my shadow token for again?
It can be used to just get the shadows to do magical shit for you when you spend it. Pretty much anything you can kind of come up with. It's meant to be pretty wide open. Right?
I can just be like, put in my hand the thing that I need from this house.
Maybe not that, but you can. But you can get them to open up, like sort of magic, like teleporting shadow gates, or get them to spy on you, spy for you, that kind of thing. Right?
And
cloak you in darkness.
I can't remember exactly, but last time I rolled 10 plus. So did that mean I got to choose two things, right? I had an extra prep and I had a shadow token, or did I only have a shadow token?
I think you just. Did you have two? I think the other one was. I think you took the extra preparation. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Don't forget your preparation. You can use that to get +1 forward on rolls.
And to flashback? Are we still doing
and
that?
And flashback too. Yeah. Okay. So while I've got you all, I have just a quick logistical question. This dungeon map doesn't look like much, but it's a really good dungeon. I'm like really happy with this dungeon. I would like to not rush it. Are you all going to be around at the same time a week from today?
Yeah.
Or can you be around a week from today at this time?
I believe so.
I'll be at Dreamation, so I'm not.
I will too, but I have a place where I can run the game for Sunday morning. So if you can find a place, Christo, you are welcome to, because that's where I will be if I do this on Sunday morning. Sunday morning is not usually too hype at double exposure cons, and so I'm not too worried about it. I will leave that up to you. But what about you, Aaron? If I can get close to a quorum.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Now I'm not going to rush this. I'm just going to play this out like as I wish, or as we, whatever makes sense for us here. And then we'll just wrap it up next week. So questions. Go for it. Aubrey, ask your first one. And maybe throw over one to Twilight for Twilight's aid.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Let's do. What here is not what it appears to be. That seems to be what I'm looking for, I guess.
Yeah. And you're kind of expanding out into the house, right? Like you're looking for yeah, I like that. That's good. There is another sentient being in the house. Definitely. There is another sentient being in the house, and that sentient being is, you can tell that it can watch you, and not only can it watch you, but it relays whatever it sees to another place. So you're getting this. So it's essentially like a remote viewing security system, right? Next question.
Let's do. I'll let Twilight ask the second question.
It's just one of the discern realities questions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What here is useful or valuable to me?
You notice, so all these rooms have like kind of a vaulted ceiling. So they're like, maybe like a 15-foot high ceiling, right? And you notice above the door and off to the side a little bit, there is a circular metal grate. Circular metal grate about the size of a basketball that appears to be on a double hinge, right? Okay. Specifically valuable to you because you know about this eyeball thing. And that's almost certainly, the eyeball thing can like traverse rooms in the house through it. So. Next question. Aubrey.
I guess. Can I save? I want to ask what is about to happen, but I think that should be saved until we start moving. Or
what's about to happen is perfect, actually.
Okay.
You sense that whatever that sentient being is assuming Twilight pointed out the grate. You sense that thing is. You sense that it's like moving through other little hatches like this throughout the house, looking for you all. It's almost here at this one. And indeed, that's kind of my miss that I'm pushing on here with Derail. You know it's coming. You know it's about to come out of that grate. What do you do? Anybody, whoever wants to jump in.
Is it a metal grate?
Yeah.
Can I use? I think Twilight wants to use her magnetic gloves to warp it maybe somehow so that it can't be opened.
I like that. That's good. Yeah.
That's not a standard use of what she's doing though, so that would be probably jury rig.
Yeah, go for it.
Or
the other one.
The field test one. Yeah. To get out of a tight spot. I don't think it makes it different. They're both with int. It's just a matter of what comes out of it.
I think the one that makes the most sense is probably field test, right?
Okay. Works for me.
Because you're still manipulating metal, and that is its basic purpose, right? So.
Somebody should have prophesized.
I know, because you get those death prophecies out there. Rack up your XP. Come on, it's just laying right there.
Because that was a 4. That's a 6. Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, if somebody aided me, it could work, but it's
okay. So I think I'm going to take over the scene. This is the way I imagine this looks. You're quickly sharing this information, right? It's like Twilight's like, oh, I see this metal grate, and like Aubrey's like, yeah, there's something in here. It's moving around through them. I can sense it. Oh shit, it's coming this way. And you grab your glove and attempt to like twist the metal, and it's just too late. The thing just flies through. It's there. It's a big eyeball. It has a little gross, sickly tendril, that like kind of dangling off of it, like a little tail, like a big eyeball sperm, right? And it's there just floating and like moving around, and like it's definitely taking you all in. It like moves and looks at each one of you in turn. Boom, 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 boom. And then it flies back to the metal grate. Derail, what do you do?
I fuck it up.
Are you gonna try to shoot it?
Yeah.
Roll volley.
Especially that's like ominous stuff. Like I see you, but bye.
Called shot to the eyeball.
I'm not gonna call shot, but you can do volley.
Yeah. I rolled
Twilight.
a 5.
It gets away. You hear it. It goes through the grate. It's definitely in that hallway, and you can hear it move through the grate. That must be situated. If you're looking at the map, it must be situated in that other large door, kind of in the center of the map that goes toward the rear of the house. I'll give you guys a minute to act here, but not long. Talia, you're closest to the door. What do you do?
Hmm.
You've got seconds here.
So sorry, is the grate in the northern wall? Or
No, the grate is in the grate's on the western wall. It goes right out into that hallway, right? That kind of like bisects the map. And then you hear it. It's already there. It's already gone through. You hear the slam of another grate as it goes basically toward the rear part of the long hallway there. Does that make sense?
yeah, definitely. I don't know if she has much of a move. I think I slammed the books shut that I had in front of me, kind of, and like pocket a few of them. And I think I'd probably make to move out into the hallway.
You can swing the door open. The trap that was already sprung, that was the chimera. You step out into the hallway and you see, just the quick at a glance, you see another set of double doors. There's a set of double doors behind you. That's the front entrance. Set of double doors down the hall. Maybe, I don't know, it's maybe like 30 or 40 paces. Another set of double doors. And you see a swinging metal grate that the eyeball just flew through to go toward the back part of the house. What do you do?
I think I probably chase it down. I think I realized that, like, the others were occupied with trying to deal with it, and I was the closest to the door, so I'm just making to cut it off as quickly as I can. I don't know if I have
head for the other set of double doors to get to where, because you need to get to where it's at, right? Like, which is on the other side of those doors, but it didn't take the doors; it took the little metal grate, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if I have much time to check for traps here.
You do not.
I absolutely do not.
Where is everybody else? Does everybody follow Talia into the hall, or what? What's going on? Just go around the table. Dero, where are you?
Yeah, I think I run after it as soon as I miss. Like, my arrow probably like was about to hit it, and then it just pieced, right?
Nice. What about you, Twilight?
She would have taken the shortcut. She would have phased through the wall.
Oh, nice. Where are you trying to end up at?
It would just be in the hallway because she didn't know where the thing was going. So.
Okay, so you're in the hall. And what about you, Aubrey?
I think I'm trying to. So one of my abilities is to manipulate small objects no heavier than weight 1. So maybe I'm trying to close these flaps to trap it.
Okay, nice. Okay, so you're gonna. So if it tries to come out the other side, you're gonna try to hold it there.
Correct.
I like that. I think that's a great plan. If that becomes a factor, we'll let something happen there. Talia's running for the double door. You guys see the little gate swinging, right? Talia, the moment you touch the doors, you go for the handles. No time to look at what's on them. No time to definitely no time to examine them. The moment you touch the handles, you're all aware of, kind of like centered in the hallway, conveniently centered around you all, there is a little tiny marble-shaped ball of fire. It just appears and it begins like spinning up and swelling like it's going to explode. Going around the table, what do you each do? Derail.
I clean my pants. No, just kidding. Let's see. How would I put that out? Do I have... I want to throw something on top of it to sort of like stymie it or stifle it.
That's pretty good.
I have a fur cloak.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. Give me a defy danger with int.
Okay.
Quick thinking.
And I think this is where Twilight's going to use her prophecy and say, "No, don't do that."
Oh, nice. Good. Okay, so I love this. Are you invoking the prophecy?
Yeah.
What did the shadows whisper to you?
That Derail is going to try to snuff something out, but it's going to backfire. Okay, I guess if it had to be in words, but I'm picturing images of fire and doom and
fires, fur cloaks, and doom. Good. What was your roll, Derail?
It was a 6.
Okay, well, so Derail, you're getting 2 experience points, and you're getting 1, Twilight.
And I might level up again.
If you make it back from Blackgate.
Yeah.
Okay. Describe the Black Gate. Derail. What does it look like for you?
He's let's see. Let me think about derail. Oh, I think it's him suddenly like in a cold forest hunting, like in a safer space. So suddenly, like, you know, he throws the fur coat on it, and as soon as it lands, I think he's suddenly just like in the forest hunting, and it's yeah ominous. I think maybe the sun is just setting and it's getting darker.
Nice, nice. And I think death in this case is like, I think death in this case is like a legendary huntsman, right? They come out, step out of the brush, they step out of the tree line, and he's got like a stag skull mask. He's got big heavy furs, right?
Mhm.
And he draws a bow, and he pulls the arrow tight and aims it at your chest. Are you ready?
Yep.
Roll 2d6.
It's just straight, right?
Just straight.
Yeah, I got a 5. I guess roll for your party. Is this nope today?
it is a vicious mistress today.
Yeah. I don't think I've succeeded. Maybe
So
once.
sad. So sad. Some of you see it. Some of you are really focused on these doors. Derail is attempting to. This is pretty. This is kind of like a war movie thing here, right? Derail's like grabs his cloak, like no, and like goes to like snuff out the flame, and that sucker just explodes. It's a concentrated explosion though, and Derail is just like burning hot and intense. I think you all see, you see like basically his like screaming skeleton, right? His screaming charred skeleton, like as the fire just like consumes him. And at the end, there's just a pile of ash. Back at the Black Gate, Death fires his arrow and it hits you in the heart. And then he just drags you deep into the woods, hangs you over his shoulder like his latest prey. Meanwhile, you manage to get in. You manage to flip the doors open, or the doors are open, right, Talia? At the far end of that hallway, you see a clock. There's a clock on the wall, and a clock would be a pretty fantastical invention in this setting, but you recognize it. You've seen such things. There are hands, there are like markings that indicate numbers. And this clock, it's built into the wall. And at the base is a spherical sort of slot, right? And you can see the eyeballs flying and trying to insert itself in that slot. What do you do? This is for Talia.
This could be a good time for something in the book. So you said, where's the slot on the clock exactly?
It's a bit.
I'm sorry?
I was typing, sorry. It's at the base of the little clock thing.
Okay. I think I know that what I did triggered the trap, and I don't really have time for remorse or thinking about it here. So I think this is me like just basically gliding across the room in this like ethereal way. But I move a lot faster than you might expect, and I'm just trying to get to it as fast as I can and like impale it against the wall behind the clock. But I don't know if I have time for that.
I love it. Yeah, I think that's great. I'm sorry, I was distracted momentarily. You said you were going to shoot it with something.
No, I have my my blade, so
Okay,
either I can get up there and stab it, or if I'm not going to make it in time, I could maybe toss it, just straight towards this thing. I don't have throwing knives specifically, but
I'll let you run out there and just try to like wrestle it down and stab it to death. I
Sure.
think that's a great brutal Talia. It's an anti Talia scene. I'm kind of here for it. So.
yeah.
Wrestling a basketball. I like it.
Have we had enough with prophecies for the moment?
I've already spent mine. I'm done.
I don't have one.
Okay, cool. That's an 11.
Nice. Just I'll let you destroy the thing. Just describe it.
Yeah. So I think. So you said it's kind of got this like little trail behind it, this weird little,
like a little tendon,
Yeah.
like it used to be inside a bigger creature. Right?
Yeah. So I think I run up and I'm kind of like running a little bit adjacent to the clock, and as I'm running, I kind of like grab the tail and I just spin around quickly and just smash the eyeball against the wall, and it kind of like maybe splatters a little bit, and I just take my blade out and just still holding onto its tail, just impale right through the wall, through the eyeball, and I don't know if it bursts or whatever, but it's probably a little nasty.
Do you pierce the clock as well?
I didn't intend to, but that sounds so interesting. Yeah, I think I turn and I slam it against the wall, and then I take my blade and I kind of just like drive it sideways through the eye and into the wood of the clock.
Fantastic. You all feel a little bit of there's like a little weird shimmer and a weird shift. Like the world is warping around you a little bit. You've felt this way before. Like, for example, when you're coming in and out of a vault of shadow. There's a bit of a weird shift. Twilight, you are standing there and you are now looking at the precise moment of Derail standing there burning, right, and screaming. Time has been like rewound just ever so slightly. Derail, if you want to spend your preparation on that roll, I'll let you have it.
On which roll? The fur thing?
The last breath.
Oh, okay. I guess I'd have to spend 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, to eke out the 7.
Indeed. The huntsman sets you down. You have this arrow in your side. You're bleeding out. And he kneels down and says, he's got through the stag skull mask and says, I can help you. I can remove this arrow and tend your wounds and send you back out on the hunt. But only if you do not return the head of Azuman to the Shadow Court.
I mean, that sounds like a plan. Going against the Shadow Court. I was made for this.
Twilight, you watched Derail burn up before your eyes, but now you're watching him burn up before your eyes again. How would you save him?
So he's wearing. Is Derail wearing anything metallic?
I don't know. Derail, what do you think?
I think I said that I had leathers on.
You have leather armor, a bundle of it. Yeah, you don't have anything particularly metallic, do you? So I think what she's going to do is this would have to be her using her her ghosting ability. So she'd like jump into it, grab him, and then dematerialize to get away from it.
Oh, I like that. That's good.
And she said, no, not again. And jump to do that. Do you want me to make a roll for that?
No.
It's not what it's meant to be used for exactly. So it's certainly.
I mean, he's got the benefit of the last breath. So you can just describe what it looks like. So.
Yeah. So I picture her like jumping to catch Derail and screaming no, just and grabs it and clicking her belt so that she'll, or maybe it's like going phasing out, phasing in to grab him, and then phasing out again, and smashing up against the wall as we get out of the way of the blast.
Nice. Talia is on her knees at the far end of this double hallway, this bloody eyeball creature before her. Aubrey, you can ease up on the hatch. The hallway has like a red velvet rug runner that goes across the full length of it. It's a stone structure. There are a couple of like lantern or a couple of like, hanging brazier sconces on the walls, right? They're not lit. Indeed, you're benefiting mostly just from I assume you guys like lit something for the previous room or whatever, right? Like there might just have been like some ambient light from a torch that Kasai was carrying or whatever, right? And maybe a little bit of like light coming in from underneath the front entrance, right? Door to one side, hallway goes down, a couple more doors on the left and the right, just as it looks on the map. This place has a spicy smell, it's a spicy smell like ginger and cumin, and things like that. But also underneath it, there is a distinct chemical odor as well. It is the smell of someone who enjoys the luxuries of his position, but also who is a necromancer and who deals with dead bodies on regular occasions. Let's just pull the table, find out what you're all doing. Aubrey, we haven't heard from you in a bit. What are you up to?
I think at this point, once the threat is passed, I think I'm going over to Diril and Twilight to check on them.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Diril, I think you're probably down to like 1 hit point.
That sounds fair. I was burning alive.
And yeah, you guys, you want to scene? Do you want to call for flags or something? Maybe a good idea at this point in the session.
Oh, yeah. This time I won't trash your gadgets because they were helpful.
Otherwise, you guys can just be checking on each other. It's no big deal.
I think maybe Aubrey gives Diril a pep talk. Get back in there. Lead the way. We still have a head to find.
Snap out of it.
Yeah. Please, sir, can
I think Twilight looks at Aubrey and says, "What the hell is wrong with you? He's barely alive. Help me with these bandages." And she because she has bandages, so I don't know how long theoretically it takes, but she has bandages, so she can bandage up Diril.
You have time. It's four more hit points. Diril.
Now I'm spry.
You guys can think about that scene for a bit more. Talia, what are you up to?
I think this might happen after like the group kind of like walks into the room where Talia is, and I think she's just sitting and she's holding this like leaking eyeball in her hands and just staring straight into the pupil and like the iris and kind of like looking at, I imagine there's like swirling runic patterns or just some strange symbols like into the iris itself. And she's trying to kind of like, she's just like reading into that. I don't know if she has any intent, but I think she's just kind of captivated by this strange creature.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fantastic. Are you investigating it? Are you spouting lore about it, possibly? What do you think is going on?
I think I might like to spout lore, and I don't know if this is like a creature that would have been created or that he would have just hired on his own, but I feel like, one, I'd like to know something about it, and two, if he did create this, there would be sort of his magical DNA within the iris itself, and maybe I'm trying to kind of like gain a more of a sense of the kind of magic that he's capable of, or other stuff he might have in his possession.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I think you make a case for either DR or spout lore, right? Depending on how you approach it, but I'll let you choose. Like if this is something you knew about beforehand and maybe can be aided by some of the books or something like that, maybe it's a possibility.
Yeah, I think that it's spout lore, and I think I'd like to employ the books here, but it's less of like just reading up in the books and more kind of like communing spiritually with the books. And I'd really like her to like see something in the eye itself. Like there's just this weird captivating scene where she's just kind of staring into it, like out of time a little bit.
No, I like it. Go ahead and roll.
That is a 12.
Something interesting and something useful. Interesting. It's not his magic. It bears the magical symbols of someone else. The soul book is of no use whatsoever. It's not like there's nothing particularly connected to it in this. Useful thing. It is. You will recognize, I think, like on the eyeball, like just behind the like sort of just behind the pupil, like inside, like maybe like the lens of the eyeball, like delicately etched on the inside, is the mark of the wizard to whom this magic belongs, like who powered it, right? And I'll let you out of character think about what you think that might be, and if you think that might be useful in some way. For the time being, I think just noted on your sheet. But in terms of like this immediate dungeon, it has no real bearing. He traded with lots of different wizards for lots of different types of magic, and so it's just one of a number of devices and traps in this place. So there's no other real connection to Vatula. So back to the other scene, patching up derail. Anything else we want to do there?
I think once Twilight calls out Opry for being aloof, she sort of snaps back in, maybe makes up she has some herbs and poultices. Can that be used here?
Oh, of course, yeah.
So I give him that, and then I'm going to head over to Talia and just sort of find out what the next step is, since Dyril is not going to lead us into the next step.
Nice. Dyril, you get 7 more hit points.
Cool. I could probably lead now.
I'm feeling better.
Not dead yet.
Not dead yet.
Well, I'm at 12 out of 18. It's not bad.
Yeah. I think Talia might say, she kind of like looks up at you finally, like breaks eye contact with the eyeball basically, and I think she says, I don't believe that this is cause for a woodsman, a hunter, or a tracker of a physical sort. If what we're looking for is the detached consciousness of a head, Azuman the Vizier, then we might need more of a spiritual guide, a psychic navigator, if you will. Do you think you could do that for us?
I will do what I can.
Yeah, right. I think she's just basically, this guy's got some kind of, the head, I imagine, would have some kind of signature, and I don't know if it's something you could just straight up reach out and sort of feel out, and that might be really dangerous to do, but...
So one of the things that I was trying to think about doing earlier as one of these moves is to establish a telepathic contact with someone you touch skin to skin for up to an hour. And I wanted to touch this eye to see if I could understand what the eye was seeing or what it was relaying information back to, or where it was heading. But now that it's dead, I don't know that if I can do that still.
I like it. I'll just kind of more specifically answer your previous question about were witnessing. It was reporting back directly to Vatulan. You will learn something really important, though. Vatulan's not always paying attention to it, and so it had not actually yet made contact with Vatulan. It was trying, and in the meantime, it was going to engage the house's other defenses. But you're probably in the clear right now. So as far as that goes,
I communicate that to the group.
Yeah.
I turn back to Daryl and say, "Are you ready yet?"
Yes. All I needed was 5 minutes.
You've got mud and ointment on your burns. Feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
May I also use this time to reflect on the interconnectedness of all things and regain some focus?
I think you probably need a little bit more time. If you guys were not in the middle of a mission, I would say yes. But what's your focus at right now?
That would be 1.
I think you're probably okay for now. If you can maybe an opportunity to do such a thing will probably present itself at some point. But at this precise moment, you probably need to make sure that any looky-loos or nosy people who might be listening at the door, because it's a busy street right outside, is not like, you kind of get on it or move out or get out of the hallway at the very least, right? Yeah. So, Dero, what's the next move?
Yeah. Very cautiously. I'm thinking maybe hunt and track here, like looking for disturbances in the house where he would be going to a lot, like maybe where he's keeping something is like his trophy room or something like that, so he frequents it more. So I'm looking for like disturbances in the house that would point to places that he's frequented a lot.
I think hunt and track is a great option here. Go ahead and roll plus wisdom.
Cool. Let's see what happens.
What? Nobody wants to put out a prophecy?
Okay. Yeah. So actually, that was pretty good. That was a 12.
Nice. All right. Let's read that move. On a hit, you follow the creature's trail until there's a significant change. On a 10 plus, you also choose 1. Well, hold on to it. So you're basically going to pick up on only someone like you would be able to pick up on this, because like the tracks are the tracks, and I'm putting that in quotes. It's mostly just like dust patterns disturbed, maybe like very, very faint footprints, right? I mean, something you would have to really get down there with a torch and like kind of have a look at, right? The room that is most frequently entered is the one that is on the upper, like the northwest corner. Okay, that's the most frequently entered room. However, the room on the northeast is the room most frequently entered with other people, where there are different sets of tracks.
Okay. And so, I don't know, would we suspect that he would show off this thing to other people? Yeah, pretty weird. I'm gonna bet that he just well, I'll tell you guys, but what I found, but I think that maybe he just wouldn't have other people come up. What do you guys think?
Isn't his name literally Vatulan the Head Collector? Do people not know that this is his his thing?
So. So you think he like has parties and he's like, come look at my heads?
I think he's
Come look at my head collection.
This is exactly that. I think you're absolutely right. Yes.
I think you're right. That's all you. On that one. Okay, well, sure. let's approach cautiously to the one where many people are going, and then lose faith in humanity if it's right.
The door is carved to look like the face. It's like a face. It's a double door as well, and it's a face carved on the door. And the two doors, the middle like bisects the face, and one is like a more feminine face, and one is a more masculine face. Right? What do you do?
Is that like a reference to Oron and Lulon? Or?
I guess it could be. Spotting lore here. Spot lore.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sounds good. Intelligence. My strong suit. Actually, nothing's my strong suit today, but yeah, that's a fail. 4.
Derail, having apparently learned nothing. Market experience derail.
Sure.
Goes, is looking at the door. It touches someone. I think maybe just casually, inadvertently, like as you're looking at the carving and the woodwork, you just casually brush your fingertips across the feminine side's cheek, right? And Derail just blinks out of existence.
See you later.
Well,
I
that's
think
inconvenient.
I think Twilight will be, oh hell no, not again. And if she has a chance, then so do we know what that Talia touched the clock, hit the clock, and that's what did the time warp?
Yeah, so like when Talia I don't know if Talia figured that part of it out or not. But basically, out of character, when we know that's what happened, right? But in character, that may not be quite. We may not have quite sorted that out yet. But in any case, blink.
So can I? Sorry, go ahead, Twilight.
I think this is where Twilight would turn to Talia and say, "Talia, what did you do the last time? You were here alone when that time warp happened. What did you do?"
I struck the clock.
How?
With an eyeball and a sword.
Like you do.
There was no ritual to it. I just stabbed into it. I don't know if that's advisable.
Can Opera use a preparation here to have to retcon that in the giving of the herbs and poultices to Derail, that she made skin to skin contact and can have that telepathic connection with him?
I like that. Yeah, I'm into it. Yeah, you can spend up that.
Non-consensual.
Non-consensual mind invasion. I love it.
Maybe I ask.
No, it's not fun if you do it consensually.
No.
So, psychic probing. Okay, so
it's more just like a curiosity thing. Like, what was this Black Death thing that you just experienced, kind of thing?
No, I love it. This is actually a great move. You're going to see what Derail sees. Derail. You find yourself in a subterranean space, a cave. You see some stalactites, whatever the hanging ones are, up above. The space is illuminated by a number of several fairy fires kind of floating around. Right? And you are at present, all around you, you find yourself about waist deep in huge pile of bones, animal bones, like skeletons, like all kinds of just stuff like that, right? And big, huge piles of bones just piled up everywhere. And they all, in the center of this massive, little tiny ocean of bones that you are currently in, there is a plinth, an altar of sorts. There are indeed some steps that go up to the top of it. It's rising up out of this pile of bones. And atop that, there is a large sarcophagus sitting atop it. What do you do?
Okay, so bones everywhere, or go to a coffin. I'll go to the coffin, I guess. So
Like you can continue looking around more, but that's just what you're seeing at a glance.
yeah, I will go to the coffin cautiously.
So you're like working your way there,
Yeah.
right? You're like climbing, like trying to do your best, right?
Yeah.
You will get up to you'll be able to wade through the bones well enough to get up to the steps, right? And then you can quickly move up the steps to the top of the altar space where the sarcophagus is.
Right.
What do you do?
I want to check for a way to, like, I basically just want to try to figure out what it is and what it does and stuff, because I'm guessing that, like, I think that whatever this is might be the cause of all the dead bodies.
If you're examining the sarcophagus and
Yeah.
stuff.
And then I have one of my moves that I took last time was like a ghost. When you roll for another move that you want to perform in a clandestine or manner, you can choose options equal to your dex. And one of them is that you draw attention elsewhere. So I would like to do that. And it's tied to the role that I'm doing now. So you either like do it or you don't do it. But that's my hope.
I'm into it. Go ahead and roll. Let's see what goes on.
Okay. Come on, roll for your party. Ah, oh, snake eyes. so also what that means too for the like a ghost move is it says on a miss, like you say, like, I hope I do this and draw attention elsewhere instead of to me, right? And then it says on a miss, no guarantees.
I'm into it. I'm feeling this. Opry, you're seeing this. You're seeing him traverse the bones, climb up the steps. He's poking around the sarcophagus, like all that stuff is going on. All he had to do to get there was just touch that door. I'll leave it open to you whether you want to like also touch that door and get the rest of the group there. But we're gonna take a quick break, just a quick 2-minute break. We'll come back.
I don't think anyone's gonna be able to save me. I think Roll for Your Party just wants me to die. I'm gonna die.
Well, the odds have to change eventually, don't they? Assuming it's truly random and this is not a glitch. You're getting different rolls each time, though, right?
Right. Yeah, they change.
Well, then the odds have to be in your favor eventually.
Well, I did roll a 10 once.
Yeah. No, if I can get to your body, I got you covered. Sort of. Not really.
Okay. Well, worst comes to worst is I died. I just make a wizard or something.
And the next scenario, we'll always have needed a ranger, right? That's
Yeah. It definitely makes me appreciate Weary a lot more. That's for sure. But I definitely gamed the system when I was building Weary. I was just like, how could this be the most effective thief ever, basically? Because the very first move that I ever took was I can never be surprised.
Yeah.
I like the idea of if somebody dies again, of using a preparation to have somebody like check in on us, like follow our path, like we told somebody from the what's our group's name?
The Shadow Court.
The Shadow Court. Like, hey, if you don't hear from us, this is how we got in.
Yeah, we're hardcore SC. West Side Shadow Court.
Although it wouldn't be spatial, it would be temporal, right?
Yeah.
Like AD Shadow Court, yo.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what I was gonna. Are you gonna be upset if we manage to use the clock to pull you back?
What do you mean?
Well, the clock does a time warp, or it did at least once. So if we can figure out how to do it again, we could pull you back.
Yeah, that's fine.
Unless this is, see, I don't know what this Smool thing is. I don't think I wasn't in that one. Old King Smool.
So,
yeah, that was the Gauntlet Con one.
Yeah, that was the one that I think that was my first Gauntlet experience.
Nice.
And I don't have a very good memory.
I don't think I want to know.
So Aaron has a good sense of how fucked you are right now.
I do remember that much, yes.
There's a lot of bones. I was like, I bet you this is not good.
The sarcophagus lid swings open and just crashes heavy up on this platform. And rising up, Dracula style, just rising up out of the sarcophagus, is a skeletal, withered, desiccated figure. A couple of stray wisps of hair, but otherwise just desiccated skin pulled tight over bone, right? Draped in tatty silks that look like they used to be beautiful, draped with jewelry, and a sort of like a crown, a bone crown on its head. And it sits up, it turns, it looks at you, it turns back, and then it just like sort of levitates up out of the sarcophagus, floating in the middle of this space illuminated by purple and blue and yellow fairy fire. And it's looking right at you, Opry. It's looking directly at you. You know it. You see it. It says, I care nothing for this insect you have sent. An insect I will step upon presently and crush. I want to know who you are, Why have you disturbed my rest? And then you hear a clattering, kind of like a really, really noisy rain stick of bones as they swirl and move and clatter and begin to like create a sort of like cyclone funnel of bones all around you, Derail. And I think we'll just cut there.
Juicy.
Yep, I hate roll for your party.
It was very cruel to you today, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was exceptionally cruel roll for your party on specifically on you, Derail.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's
Yeah.
read our end of session here.
That's how Ramshackle Crow dies, man.
It was just fail. Reference sheets. Okay, here we go. So, how'd you guys do on flags? I wasn't sure if any dungeon crawl is kind of hard to hit flags, and we're not done with the dungeon crawl. So, it's not surprising if you didn't hit any, but if you think you hit one, just call it out.
I tried to hit Derail's suggested journey to a dangerous locale so I can lead the way. Just kind of twisted that a little bit.
It's all happened as it did end up being quite dangerous, as it turns out.
But only for him.
Any other flags?
I was trying to hit Alpries. Call me out when I express knowledge or manners that are different from my everyday behavior. When you were so heartless to Derail.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good moment, if nothing else. Yeah.
I wonder, because when I was sitting there holding the eyeball and Aubrey came up and I asked her to sort of like, be our psychic guide and spiritual navigator, and then she was able to use that to kind of that important object to kind of gain information about how he was watching us and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, read the flag.
It says, ask me to examine an important object. And I guess I didn't explicitly ask her to like examine it, but I was kind of like holding it there and asked her to kind of like guide us forward. So maybe it wasn't specific enough.
Well, Aubrey did do it, but it was kind of like, yeah, I guess so. Cause that did happen. I mean, like Aubrey did come up and examine it. So, I mean, yeah, I think I'm cool with it if Aubrey is. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Let's go to alignment. Twilight, use a gadget in a new and surprising way that it wasn't meant for. I don't know.
The ethereal belt when I saved Derail, maybe?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It was a good moment, if nothing else. So I think it was pretty. It looked good on screen. Derail, learn a secret about someone important.
If the secret is Buddy has a sarcophagus with a lich in it or something.
you don't know the full details there yet. So
yeah.
Forge a new connection between two people. Yes. You did. It is definitely happening.
Is this Derail and Smule?
Derail and Old King Smule. Yeah.
Okay.
Discover something new or write a new song.
I don't know. I didn't write a song. I mean, I discovered a few things, but that seems too broad.
Just sort of
it's easy to discover
dungeony sort of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably going to be some opportunities next session, but I think for now we're probably okay. Kill a defense. Oh, that's somebody who's not here. All right. Let's go to final questions. Did we learn something new and important about the world? Yeah, maybe. You're on the precipice of learning something new and important about the world. Yeah. Did we overcome a notable monster or enemy? Sure, the Chimera was fun. Did we loot a memorable treasure? Yeah, a couple things, I think. Were gotten. Cool. So you guys will get 2 XP from the final 3 questions. And I think we're pretty good there. Since we have one more session, Christo, if you can make it, that'd be lovely. I never do anything on Sunday of Dreamation and the Dex cons except go in around lunch and say goodbye to everybody. So that's my plan. I may not even take the full 3 hours next week. It might just be like a quick, just to wrap this dungeon up kind of like time period. And then, but that's what I'll be doing. We can talk about it more if you want to try to join us. We can maybe try to figure it out as we get closer. Everybody else, I will look forward to seeing you all for the finale. Yeah, this dungeon's pretty hot so far. I don't always love a dungeon crawl, but I kind of liking this dungeon crawl. I like how much it wants to kill you.
Yeah. How many of us leveled up this time?
I love how much roll for your party wants to kill you. I think that's really the more salient thing here.
Yeah, I rolled physical dice, and I think every roll was up 10 plus. So
you'd have one Snake Eyes in the beginning. I remember that, but
right. That still ended up as a success because of a +5 modifier.
Yeah, because of a massive bonus. I know, right? I thought the whole thing with the burglar was really funny because it was like, oh, this could be an interesting NPC developing here, or it could just be him being slaughtered by a chimera. He served his purpose and we're moving on.
Cannon fire.
I think it showed us something about the world that we got this like legendary burglar, and he just got his ass kicked immediately. And like, the four of us, I mean, we kind of used him as bait, but
Right,
he got killed. The legendary burglar got killed in the first room. We have 3 more.
Yeah.
I just like the vision of the scene of like no one rushed in to help him. You all just stood there and waited behind the tapestry while he was getting mauled to death. And then Dahlia's like, I'll play a song about it.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. I'm pretty sure that like I'm gonna die again, and then the huntsman's gonna be like, really? You were just here.
Well, that's an intriguing thing because you're going to get the head of Azumon and not give it to the Shadow Court, which I think which will be a problem that will flow.
Is he
downhill.
Jason?
Well,
Are you sure about that?
This is what we're led to believe.
That's what I was holding my shadow token for. I want it to be like we get to the head, and then I spend the token to make it like disappear, or whatever. To
drop it into teleport out a little gate or something. And
then it'll be like, oh, we almost got it.
I
Just
can
those
read your
shadows
mind.
acting up again.
Yeah.
It's true. Aubrey's going to totally know you're lying.
I was gonna say,
I didn't figure on having a telepathic link when I was thinking that. So
Nobody did.
but
Yeah, you guys are gonna have to make a decision next time if you're going to like try to join Derail to help him, knowing that, I mean, you guys might not be able to get back, right? Like it's like totally unclear if you're going to be able to get back, so I don't know. These are open questions.
Yeah. It'll be interesting, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna die anyway. So.
Aubrey just gives everybody else a blow by blow of what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, he took a left. Oh, he took a right. Oh, he's down.
Oh shit!
There's a lot of bones, guys. A lot of bones.
I can't see anything through all the bone haze.
It's all bones.
Good. All right. Well, so we'll do that. I don't have anything else. We'll just see you guys next week. Okay.
Mm-hmm.